Hello, I'm IBXToyCat, and today I'm going to be giving you some news for Minecraft Xbox One and Minecraft PS4. So unfortunately this is a bit of correction of a previous piece of news that downgrades the infinite world size theory, or, fact that we thought we had. It does have positive connotations for the console, so it's good news kind of in general. But let's just get right into it. Basically, a few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago now, Owen Hill, who is the chief word officer at Mojang, by the way, pretty funny title still, basically he said in a PS4 question and answer that the world size on PS4 would be infinite, which we then implied would obviously mean the Xbox One be infinite, because it doesn't make any sense for one of them to be infinite and one not to be. And then we just assumed, yay, infinite world, that's great, and there was no reason not to believe it. But unfortunately, today, someone tweeted at 4J, Army Channel, said, no news in 6 days, how is next-gen Minecraft going? And they tweeted back saying, fine, working with Sony/Microsoft on world size, not infinite due to save size limits, but a lot bigger than PS3/Xbox 60. So this means that unfortunately, as I said, the infinite world thing isn't true. He must have gone his facts confused because, or just like, they said basically infinite to him, and he said, oh, infinite, because, how Minecraft is basically infinite on PC, but not really infinite. Maybe he assumed the same thing, but there was some form of mistake between the, the press and the actual 4J studios themselves, so unfortunately, the world size isn't going to be infinite. But they are going to be very big, and I'm going to quickly work out how big they're going to be in this video now. So before we get into that, though, it is pretty good news that they basically said the only limit is save size limits. So the console could run infinite worlds, but it can't just because of save size. So it means that, these are powerful consoles, they've got a lot of horsepower left over, they're going to hopefully implement some of these cool ideas, as well as these large worlds, because the only thing holding it back is storage. Like, with the previous gen consoles, even if you had all the storage in the world, you'd still limited to the current worlds because of the RAM limit. However, it's good news because this isn't a issue of next gen. So let's get right into how big these worlds will be on next gen. So basically, the way I'm going to be working this out is I'm going to be using the previous world size on Xbox 60, which is 864 by 864, and I'm going to work out that because my biggest world, the one that I've done the most crazy stuff to, and basically filled up as much as you probably reasonably could, has amounted somewhere in the 35 megabyte range. I just rounded up to 35 megabytes. There are 1,024 megabytes in a gigabyte, and the Xbox One and I believe the PS4 default hard drives are both 500 gigabytes. I think you can upgrade the PS4 one, but we'll go with the default one because that's where it makes sense. So assuming they allowed you to use 80% of that hard drive just for one save at a time, that would theoretically allow you to. By the way, each of these maps on screen that I'm going to show you now represents one Xbox 60 or PS3 world. Assuming they let you use 80% of that hard drive just for one save, so that leaves 20% for the operating system, for Minecraft, for anything else you want on there. Assuming they did let you do that, that would make the world be 86,400 by 86,400 blocks, and you'd be able to fully fill it as much as you want, cover it in whatever you want, cover it in TNT, blow up the whole thing, make it bedrock map, do whatever you need to do with it, and still do that in less, without filling up your hard drive, assuming you only had one save, of course. So that would be the case if we had 80%. But I don't think that you're actually allowed to go above a certain save size. They haven't actually made the save size public, but I haven't really ever seen it go above a gigabyte or so. Assuming that they work with Microsoft and Sony to get it slightly up just for them, or, even not just for them, but in general, I use the estimate of around 3.5 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes, 3.5, which is an upper estimate when you consider that you have to do a lot of stuff for a world to get it this full. Like, by default, it'll be something like 30 megabytes, and then it will just slowly creep up into the gigabytes. Basically, the world size you'd be allowed to get, assuming they allow 3.5 gigabytes as your max size, is a world size that's 8,640 blocks by 806,040 blocks. Or in chunks, I believe that is 540 chunks by 540, which might not sound like a lot to you if you're excited for 30 million, but think about it this way: 8,000 blocks is enough to take you about, I think, maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes to cross on foot. Over minecart, it'd still take you a good, 5-10 minutes. So really, really, really big worlds. It would still allow the nether to be properly scaled, so the nether would only be, whatever size it'd be, like almost pretty much the same size it is now, but it would scale properly so you could get from one side to the other if you really wanted to, but still it'd be really difficult. You'd have to use the nether, and 8,640 blocks would be definitely acceptable. Like, I don't think anyone would really notice that it's not infinite unless you really, really tried. This is assuming that they only get 3.5 gigabytes, so this is, I think, a reliable estimate, because, as I said, you're not going to be using all 3.5 gigs, but if you did, if you have, 3 or 4 worlds, that are all taking up the maximum, 3.5 gigs they allowed, for instance. That would be, somewhere in the tens of gigabytes, and then power users that are doing loads of these worlds for whatever reason could theoretically start to see their hard drive, be limited, which on the Xbox One side of things, where it's harder to replace, could be a serious issue. So let's just say, though, theoretically, that they know that people aren't going to realistically have 10 to 20 of these worlds. They're just going to have the one big world, maybe some extra worlds, but there's going to be one big world, and they allot them, a whole, let's say, 14 gigabytes. That seems like a fair number. Then you could theoretically have a world that is 16,000 by 16,000 blocks, which I think, for all intents and purposes, would be infinite. So, well, yeah, there's no real reason you'd need more than that. So yeah, this is my little breakdown of what I think the file world size will be, based on the fact that it's limited by save size. They could just, do something entirely wildcard, make it really small, really big, but I'd imagine it's somewhere in the ballpark of many thousands, so, minimum something like 5,000, somewhere possibly even in the 20-30,000 region. It'll be, exciting to see. I'm really excited myself, both these games. By the way, I do have an Xbox One now, so I will probably be playing an Xbox One, but I'd like to perhaps get the PS4 edition too, just to, compare them, do side-by-side videos. If one gets more popular, if, subscribers want to play me with one, then I could perhaps do it that way. Let me know what console you're more excited for, knowing that they're both going to be limited by save size, and they're probably going to have really similar worlds. There might be really small differences, but we'll see. So yeah, again, as I said, just let me know what you think. Like the video if you liked it. It's pretty sad news, I guess, on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's pretty exciting in some ways. So yeah, thanks for watching the video, and goodbye. Or outro, whatever.